coming up on Carolina News. The government shutdown continues. SNAP benefits will be cut, and air travel may get more difficult. We've got team coverage on how this is affecting South Carolina. Plus, new license plates are coming our way. Hear what drivers think about the change.
I think it's horrible.
It's Halloween, which means dishing out for a new costume.
In total, because there was more pieces that I didn't wear, it was like at least $100.
Stick around to hear the cost of the spooky holiday. And finally, NASA aims to bring back supersonic travel. Stick around to take a look at the jet's inaugural flight.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello, and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Corinna Porter.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Erin Smith.
Today marks day 31 of the government shutdown. Lots of stress, loss of funds. Tomorrow, SNAP will run out of money, and millions of Americans will lose access to food stamps.
But it's not just a nationwide issue. Over 500,000 South Carolinians need food stamps. Our Abby Tam is live from the Gamecock Pantry, the food pantry for USC's students and staff, which is preparing for tomorrow's halt. Abby?
Thanks, guys. Here at the Gamecock Pantry, which is the food pantry for USC students and staff, they told us that demand this semester has been really high compared to other semesters, and that was before the government shutdown. And now that SNAP is going to run out tomorrow, that demand could be even higher.
300%. That's how much demand has increased for the Gamecock Pantry this semester.
And now with SNAP benefits ending on Monday, we're really concerned about making sure that we meet the need of all students, faculty, and staff.
Jennifer Jackson oversees the pantry, and she said it's not just staff that's concerned.
We had a student come in who's adopted three children, three siblings from his family, and when he adopted them, they came with being able to have food through SNAP. And now he's really concerned about how he's going to put food on their table.
And other local food banks, like Harvest Hope, are also seeing big demand. This was their line around 11 this morning, an hour before they closed. And much like other food pantries in the area, the Gamecock Pantry told Carolina News that now is the time they'll need donations the most.
Yeah, because of the demand increasing, we want to make sure that we have resources for students to be able to come and shop here.
They also told us about the importance of direct donations to the food pantry, which you can do at their location in the Carolina Coliseum or to their Amazon wish list. Carolina News also spoke to other orgs preparing for SNAP to run out tomorrow, and we learned that the One SC Fund, which was implemented by Governor McMaster earlier in the week, raised $100,000 in just 2 days. Live in Columbia, Abby Tam, Carolina News.
Thank you, Abby. Of the hundreds of thousands of people in South Carolina that rely on food stamps, nearly 50% are 18 years old or younger. In 2024, 10.6% of South Carolina relied on food stamps, and the state had the 30th highest share of citizens on SNAP benefits nationwide. This just in, 2 federal judges have ruled that the Trump administration must continue to fund SNAP using contingency funds as the government remains shut down. According to the AP, the 2 judges from Rhode Island and Massachusetts gave the administration leeway on whether to fund the SNAP program partially or in full for the month of November. This is a developing story, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more information.
In our continuing look at the efforts of the government shutdown in South Carolina, we look upwards toward the skies. Both air traffic controllers and passengers are feeling the effects of delayed flights. Our Anderson Jones has more.
Across the country, air traffic controllers are calling out sick, saying they can't afford the cost to come in. Nick Dan, president of the Air Traffic Controllers Association, says that this is unfair to workers and flyers. On Saturday, FlightAware reported that there are 5,333 flights
to work right now, and I'm thinking about how do I pay my rent? Rent's due in a few days. How do I put food on the table? How do I put, gas in my car just to show up to work? And those are levels of safety that are being reduced in the system and the flying public doesn't deserve.
And 508 flights canceled. Over at the Columbia Metropolitan Airport, we had access to speak to an airport employee. TSA and air traffic control workers have stopped getting paid due to the government shutdown, sparking fear over flights. But they did tell us that they haven't experienced many delayed flights at the Metropolitan Airport, although it has raised some concerns with frequent flyers.
The fact that we have less air traffic controllers is really scary because, like, planes are like one of my biggest fears, and I don't want anything bad to happen to me or anybody else.
Country air traffic controllers are calling out sick.
Being essential workers, going to work and not getting paid, not fun.
Controllers still go to work despite the shutdown.
Hope that it gets back up and running soon.
Anderson Jones, Carolina News.
Thanks, Andy. As our reporters have explored here in South Carolina and across the nation, the government reopening is becoming a critical necessity. The current shutdown is nearing the longest in history, and in an attempt to end it, President Trump has called on the Senate to kill the filibuster. A filibuster allows any one senator to block or delay action on a bill by extending debate. In order to end debate, 3/5 of the Senate needs to vote to end it. That's 60 votes. Trump is calling for a, quote, nuclear option, which would mean gutting the filibuster altogether, paving the way for the GOP majority to pass a bill to fund the government without any Democratic support.
Moving out into the Atlantic, Hurricane Melissa tore through Jamaica, and they're now trying to recover. The Los Angeles County Fire Department's International Search and Rescue Team left last night to support the recovery. The team is equipped with supplies to search for those missing and provide medical attention for those trapped under collapsed structures. With firefighters, paramedics, physicians, and structural engineers, this crew of 34 is equipped with the tools to swiftly provide assistance.
They can deploy more quickly, but they still bring 49,000 pounds of rescue equipment with them.
Back here in the Midlands, we have Jordan Rawlinson in the Weather Center.
Jordan, can we expect stormy weather coming our way?
No, we will not see stormy weather here. As you can see, it's clear, sunny skies, and it's cooler temperatures are coming in. We're at 65 degrees. I'll have more on the Hollow weekend temperature forecast, as well as an update on Hurricane Melissa in my full forecast. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jordan. Military bases in South Carolina that are no longer being used are being transformed into new affordable housing complexes. Governor Henry McMaster joined state lawmakers on Thursday and announced the new state law that will give the Charleston Naval Base into some new life.
This tax increment funding that our legislature has made available is opening a lot of doors.
The former base is part of a tax increment financing district, or TIF, that local governments use to invest in infrastructure improvements.
We have an update on the bus crash back in April that killed a 13-year-old Lexington II student. The right front tire on the bus was corroded by 3 nails, and the driver was going 70 miles an hour, while buses in South Carolina aren't supposed to go over 55. But this wasn't the first time this bus had had a tire blowout. Back in 2023, the bus had a blowout while driving the Brooklyn KC High School football team on I-26. That time, the bus went off into the median and hit a safety wire. No one was hurt, but the bus took on $47,000 in damage.
In Orangeburg, a woman is suing True by Hilton Hotel after claiming they allowed her abusive husband to access to her hotel room, where he allegedly held her hostage. Latasha Brown said she left her husband, Jacques Brown, in July 2024, but afterwards he allegedly began GPS tracking her location. She said she was staying in hotels to avoid the stalking. Latasha's attorney showed CCTV footage that allegedly shows Jacques being given a key to her room without presenting ID or calling Latasha's room. Latasha claimed she was tortured for hours while she cried for help with no answers from the hotel staff. Jacques Brown pleaded guilty and is currently serving a total possible sentence of 15 years.
South Carolina has unveiled a new license plate design.
Carolina News went out to the DMV to talk with some people who are getting the new plates. Here's what they had to say.
It looks just too blank.
I do like the older one better.
This I'm just not a fan of. I think it's horrible.
I'd rather go for the previous one.
Coming up after the break.
Halloween spending has skyrocketed over the past few years. Find out how much students spent on their costumes. Stay with us.
Coming up on Carolina News, an update on former Gamecock quarterback Connor Shaw. Hear how he's turning his health scare into an initiative to help others. Plus, mobile health vehicles are being deployed across Spartanburg to vaccinate the community against measles in the wake of more confirmed cases. But first, an update on the South Carolina State Fair and what you can expect the traffic to be like this weekend ahead of Gamecock football.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello, and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Osley Lewis.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Delaney Flanagan.
The South Carolina State Fair continues.
This year, the State Fair is expecting to see around 400,000 total visitors.
But Columbia residents can look forward to more than just the fair this weekend. Gamecock football is playing at Williams-Brice against Oklahoma on Saturday.
Our George Bagwell is live with how these events might impact traffic patterns. George?
Thanks, y'all. Yeah, I'm here at the fair where Saturday we're going to have fair, we're going to have football. It's going to be crowded. Traffic is going to be a lot heavier than usual. So if you're going down Bluff Road, you're going down George Rogers Boulevard, leave a little bit earlier than expected.
The South Carolina State Fair, into its second week, opens at 10 a.m., while the South Carolina Gamecocks kick off against the Oklahoma Sooners at 12:45 p.m. While the fair is already causing delays with traffic, the two events happening simultaneously could cause further issues for both motors and pedestrians. State Trooper William Bennett warns drivers to exercise caution when going to the fair or football game.
Just making sure that you're aware of your speed. You're not, speeding excessively over the speed limit. Always wear your seatbelt. Limit the distractions as much as possible. We really need everybody to be paying attention to what's going on around them.
The fair sees an average of 400,000 visitors per year, while South Carolina football averages over 75,000 fans per home game. Bennett says the Highway Patrol has a yearly plan in place to deal with the traffic uptick.
Really, the plan pretty much is the same, every home game weekend, and then we have the extra troopers for the fairground as well when the fair's in town.
The fair will stay open until Sunday the 19th.
And the SC Highway Patrol is saying, if you're going somewhere, going to one of these events, or both of them, come early and pack lots of patience. For Carolina News, I'm George Bagwell.
Speaking of the fair, if you're planning on heading over to the fairgrounds later today, you'll probably want to know what weather you can be expecting.
We have Ellie in the Weather Center. Now, Ellie, what can we expect?
Thanks, guys. It's a beautiful day for the fair today, but the last few days of the fair are quickly approaching, so you'll definitely want to tune into my full fair forecast on later in the show to plan accordingly for all of the fun this weekend. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ellie. The number of confirmed measles cases in Spartanburg has risen to 16. All cases are individuals who have not been vaccinated against the disease. As a result, the Department of Public Health will be sending out mobile vaccination units to Spartanburg where you can get the MMR vaccine free of charge. The first appeared today at Mount Moriah Baptist Church. This unit will be there until 6 p.m. today and will return tomorrow from 1 to 4 p.m. More units will be deployed next week. For a full list of when and where you can find them, visit dph.sc.gov.
And it's important to note that the measles virus won't be contained within schools, within school districts, or by county lines. But the MMR vaccine, by providing lifelong immunity to the majority of those vaccinated, will contain the virus. And for this reason, we're urging those who are not vaccinated to consider getting that protection now.
One person was injured in a drive-by shooting that occurred off of Broad River Road around 9:15 p.m. last night. Columbia police have not released any information about a suspect or vehicle at this time. If you think you have additional information that can help in the investigation, you are urged to call Crime Stoppers at 1-888-CRIME-SC. Police are investigating a deadly shooting that happened at the Columbia Garden Apartments. Officers were called to the complex on Plowden Road shortly before 1:30 a.m. on Wednesday for reports of a man hit by gunfire. When police arrived, they found 29-year-old Devontae Redmond unresponsive outside the building. He later died of his injuries. Investigators are still working to identify a motive and a suspect in the shooting.
A man is facing charges for shooting Richland County residents with a paintball gun. There were multiple reports of shots being fired on Two Notch Road in the past few days. Police identified 18-year-old Nasir Champion as the suspect, and he has since been booked into the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center.
Our next story takes us to North Chapin, where Mayor Al Kuhn has entered hospice care. Kuhn was elected as mayor in 2021 and is on the ballot to run for re-election this November. However, running mate Ron Colley said he was surprised by this news. We have reached out to Chapin Town Hall about Kuhn's re-election, but are waiting for a statement.
Another South Carolina bar is closing down. This time, it's Dale's Beer Garden in West Columbia. The bar is citing liquor liability laws as the main factor in closing. Dale's will be the third bar to close in the Midlands since September. For anyone who wants to stop by one last time, the bar is open until Friday.
Coral species in the Florida Keys are endangered.
Our Amanda Allen dove into what our local Riverbanks Zoo is doing to help conserve the coral.
Riverbanks Zoo in Columbia holds animals of all kinds. And here behind the doors of their conservation center, you can find snakes, lizards, and coral. But what are they doing in these tanks?
It was, hey, zoos, aquariums, we need you to hold on to these animals and keep them alive.
Riverbanks created this coral lab to hold, preserve, and spawn coral colonies taken from the Florida Keys. But why were they taken?
Some researchers and scientists saw that there was a hard coral disease. There were healthy corals that were at risk.
The area in the Florida Keys where these coral inhabit is critical for around 45 different species, and 7 of these species are listed under the Endangered Species Act.
And the tubs that these corals are in replicate the same parameters, temperature, and salinity that they'd experienced in the Florida Keys, so when they can reproduce new coral and they're sent back, it's like they never left.
There's even a blackout curtain to reflect the different moon phases. And zoo visitors were appreciative to discover that Riverbanks does more than just display animals.
Wish there was more education about it because it's so pertinent to the world and the oceans.
Riverbanks is one of 21 zoos in the country who help conserve coral for the Florida Keys. The main goal is to prevent extinction in the Keys and maintain genetic diversity.
We're just in the initial phases of trying to do the coral reproduction.
So while many visitors come to the zoo to see living things up close, behind the scenes, Riverbanks is working to save some too. In Columbia, I'm Amanda Allen, Carolina News.
Banks tells Carolina News that the zoo was also selected to become a teaching site for up-and-coming coral aquarists and conservation practitioners.
Staying at the zoo, with Halloween approaching in the coming weeks, Riverbanks is bringing back an event for the spooky season. The annual Boo at the Zoo event will offer fun activities for Halloween lovers of all ages. Families can stroll through the zoo to go trick-or-treating, take a ride on the Haunted Carousel or Riverbanks Express, or step inside the new haunted hideaway igloos introduced for the first time this year. The event runs from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. daily, starting tomorrow and ending October 30th. Coming up next on Carolina News, music, memories, and messages of hope. How One Night in Pink is helping save lives.
But first, an update on former Gamecock quarterback Connor Shaw and how he's turning his health scare into a way to help others. Stay with us.
Coming up on Carolina News, the South Carolina Department of Public Safety has released new data following last week's Operation Keep Us Safe initiative. Here are how many citations were issued in just 7 days. Your trip to the Columbia Metropolitan Airport might be getting a whole lot prettier. Airport Boulevard is getting a $615,000 facelift. Nuclear no more? Watch the startling video of a 450-foot nuclear cooling tower being demolished in Tennessee. And finally, how our community is holding up 1 year after the devastation of Hurricane Helene.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Raquel Negron.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Smith.
Operation Keep Us Safe wrapped up and the Highway Patrol citation statistics have been released. Our Matt Frank is live with the numbers and what they mean for South Carolina drivers. Matt?
Thanks, Raquel. The Operation Keep Us Safe initiative began last week and ran from Monday through Friday. Both the SC Highway Patrol and State Transport Police have cracked down on the move over and hands-free driving laws, leading to over 1,800 citations.
1,766.
That's how many move over law citations the SC Highway Patrol gave out in just the last week. The State Transport Police issued another 49. The law is meant to keep highway patrol officers safe when working. It states that if you see an emergency vehicle stopped on the side of the road, you must slow down and change lanes to avoid them. But the crackdown just started. Some South Carolina drivers are surprised this is necessary.
I think that's a shocking amount of citations. I'm shocked that many people don't slow down for emergency vehicles.
You have to move to the side of the road. You gotta let these emergency vehicles get through.
The hands-free driving law prohibits drivers from holding or supporting a mobile device while driving.
You know, it's kind of a double whammy when you got, you're driving with a phone, distracted driving, and then you got emergency personnel on the side of the road, that could set up a bad situation for them.
The Highway Patrol issued 152 warnings for hands-free driving over the past week. Drivers brought up concerns to me about not having space to move over and needing their phones for navigation. Officer Bennett told me that officers will use their transgression and that drivers should slow down more than they need to and try to change lanes if possible. As for your mobile device, officers will begin to issue citations on February 28th, so you should plan accordingly beforehand. Live in Columbia, Matt Frank, Carolina News.
Thanks, Matt. The Camden Fire Department has put out the massive fire at the abandoned Royal Textile Mill. Flames originally fueled the site late Saturday night. The size of the fire prompted an all-call response with 7 different fire departments responding. No injuries have been reported, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
A new beautification project is set to take off in the coming weeks in Casey. The $615,000 initiative hopes to improve the driving experience of visitors and residents using the Columbia Metropolitan Airport. 4,000 plants and 40,000 square feet of grass will be planted and laid along Airport Boulevard. Construction will take place in the evening and is expected to be finished in January. An accompanying paving project is also scheduled for next year. We've got your first weather update now. Let's take it on over to Osley in the greenhouse. Osley?
That's right, Raquel. It's a beautiful day in Casey. It's also a beautiful day here. If you look behind me, it's really sunny and cloudy. The high is 88 and the low tonight will be 64. A little bit later on, I'll have my 5-day forecast for you and a hurricane watch. That's coming up.
Online accounts across the country have been popping up and playing a game with community members. They hide money, post video clues on its location, and wait for people to find it. Now this trend has come to Columbia, and our Sammy Vasallo has the story.
These students are looking for something, but they are already too late, because only a few minutes before, USC student Noah Foley found $20.
Just said it was 2 minutes ago, and I knew where it was right away, so I was like, why not?
Now, money doesn't grow on USC bushes. It's hidden by an online account known as Find Money Gamecocks. They post videos to their stories with a clue to where the money can be found. Since its creation in August, it has already gained 9,000 followers and has given away over $500.
I'm sure college students always want money. We're all broke here. Sure, it's a great opportunity.
The money is dropped by multiple student workers, and I had the privilege to speak with one of them, but I did blur their face to protect their identity and keep the mystery of the account. But they did share their favorite memory with me.
Someone stole their friend's scooter to then literally scooter all the way over to the science and technology video.
I also asked why they thought the account was so popular. Their response:
I mean, we're all broke college students.
Dr. Da Key does behavioral finance research at USC. He says the positive concept of winning money outweighs any negatives, like time spent and travel. Although he does say students are forgetting one thing.
People tend to overestimate the probability of winning those type of lotteries.
Still, the account keeps growing in followers, which can mean more money drops and more wins for students. For Carolina News, I'm Sammy Vasallo.
The account has an online sportsbook sponsor, but when asked, the money dropper had no clue who was sending the money and where it came from.
Everyone loves to see a building explode. Hundreds came out this weekend in rural Tennessee to watch the controlled explosion of an old nuclear cooling tower. Take a look. The Tennessee Valley authorities demolished their 500-foot hyperbolic cooling tower this past Thursday. The tower was never placed into service and has been unused since 1970 when the tower was built. The demolition makes way for public safety improvements and possible future redevelopments.
Back here in Richland County, authorities are still looking for 28-year-old man wanted for attempted murder. The Sheriff's Department released these photos on Facebook Monday morning of the suspect. DeAndre Moy is wanted for attempted murder, possession of a weapon during a violent crime, and felon in possession. If you have any information on Moy's location, call Crime Stoppers at 1-888-CRIME-South Carolina SC to submit an anonymous tip. A fatal shooting south of Columbia left one person dead and one person injured. This occurred over the weekend on the 300 block of Mellowwood Drive. When authorities arrived on the scene, they found two men, one dead and one with a gunshot wound. The injured man is now in stable condition. Officials say any potential suspects fled the scene before law enforcement arrived. An investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is asked to call the Sheriff's Department or submit an anonymous tip through crimestoppers.org. A deer smashed its way into the Richland Library on St. Andrews Road yesterday. Unfortunately, there is no video of the incident, but according to the media relations strategist of the library, the deer put on quite the show. Apparently, the deer went in through the staff entrance, walked around, and then exited the same way it came in. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's hilarious, and I think I said excited by accident because I think it's such an exciting story.
I mean, I guess the deer was really just trying to clock in for work, trying to make that money just like we all are. Maybe next week we need to interview the deer and see where his headspace was.
I think so.
Yeah. Coming up next on Carolina News.
It's been 1 year since Hurricane Helene. Hear about a heartwarming story of a business owner that is looking back on how the storm affected their neighborhood.